Okay, so continuing from last time, we talked about how to use the string output list. For this part of the video, I'm going to speed up since we are going to build on top of this. Now, as you can see here in my text prompt, I have a cyberpunk samurai wearing a neon chrome outfit, standing in a rainy Tokyo street, and then rendered in a style of oil painting. If I take the prompt, I can essentially break it into different parts. Roughly, I can do this. I can do A, which is going to be standard. So this can be replaced with and, depending on the subject. So this here is going to be my subject, and I've replaced it with bracket A. This basically means a variable like this. And then wearing A, this is going to be standard. You can see it here. I'm replacing the outfit with B, and then the pose is standing in what is the location. So in this specific case, I have a rainy street in Tokyo, and I'm replacing with C, and then rendered in a style, and I have oil painting. So the oil painting is the style, and I have it here as D. So my variables here, they are basically like this, where variable A is the subject, and you can replace this with anything like cyberpunk, samurai, steampunk. We have forest druid. The variable B is going to be the clothes, the outfit. We can have a color, material, and in my case, I have these options here. So these are examples. Then we have location, which is the variable C, and you can see I can replace it with anything. And then variable D is the art style. Again, I can replace it with any art style. So going back to our string output list, if I wanted to do any combination of these with just the string output list here, I will not be able to do it. So even if I connect this to my prompt like normally you would do, so let me remove this connection here, and then I'm going to connect the value to my prompt here. So if I do it like this directly, I can type a prompt. On next line, I can type a second prompt, a third prompt, a fourth prompt. While this does work, I will not be able to do combinations. Like let's say I want to do a cyberpunk samurai wearing A, instead of neon clothes, chrome, I want to do glowing emerald. So this will have to be a new prompt. And the more options I have here, so imagine for subject, I have 10 different options. I will need to have 10 different prompts writing the same thing, just replacing the subject for each one. And the more a variable B, C, D, the combination for each one is going to be too much to do it by hand. So this is where the next node will come into play. So let me find it, and it's this combine prompt section. So you can go here and you can see that it says combine two string output lists with an output list combination and merges them into a prompt with formatted string. So you can basically have the combination of cat, dog, and rat multiplied by red, green, and blue, and then that's going to be 3 multiplied by 3. You will get 9 different prompts. So let's just disable our workflow. By the way, highlight everything. You can press Control, select everything, and then Control M to mute, and Control B will be to bypass. I know I have 4 variables, so I will need 4 of these string output lists. Press Alt, hold down, and then drag down to get your duplicate. I'm just going to make space for now. These are going to be my 4 variables. Next, we'll need to add the output list combination. This will allow us to do combination. So we'll just need to connect the value to A. This is going to be B, and then we have C and D, like so. So you can of course make it prettier and rearrange everything, so align stuff. I'm not going to spend time on that. Now I'm going to add all the combinations, like all the different options I want for A. And if you go back here to my example here, I have A, it means subject, and I have cyberpunk, samurai, and so on. Okay, so I went ahead and added the different options. You can see I have one here separated by a comma. Then I have a second option, a third option. I've done this for B, which is going to be the outfit or material, the color. And then we have option C, which is the location, and then option D, which will be the style. Now remember, if we have 2 and we have 3 options for each, it's going to be 3 multiplied by 3. The output will be 9. Now since I have 4, it's basically 3 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 3. I believe that's 81. Essentially, it's like 3 to the power of 4. I'm not going to do 81 like different combinations. You basically get the idea. So I will just generate like maybe for a couple of them, and then I'm going to cancel it just to show you the result. But what we can do is we can see the different combinations here. Make sure you have your like at least your save image disabled, otherwise it's going to run the workflow. Next, just grab the unzip A and you can drag it to the preview as text, run it, and it will tell you what we are basically getting. Now, right now, you can see that we did not get 3 separate options, and that is because my separator is still as a new line. I need to change this to a comma because in my prompt here, in my text box, I have a comma as a separator. So if, for example, you have LOL as your separator, you can type in LOL here. The separator does not have to be exactly like mine. Most of the time when you're copying from something else and pasting, it may not be a new line. Like, for example, if you're using ChatGPT, you can ask ChatGPT to use a new line as the separator when generating these options. So now if I run it, you will see it's going to give me the different combination. There will be 81 here combination, and that is because in the first pass, it's going to use Cyberpunk as my option. And then it's going to take Cyberpunk, combine it with neon chrome, rainy Tokyo street, and then oil painting. Then it's going to do my second prompt, which is going to be Cyberpunk again with weathered leather, and then a rainy Tokyo street, oil painting. So it's going to do all of that combination one after the other. If we do a count, we should have 81 here. Okay, so that's going to be 81 prompt. Like I said, I'm not going to do for 81, and I guess I'm just going to disable D and C. This way we only have the first 2, and I will just do 4. So I'm going to remove an option from it. This way we have 2 by 2. And if I do the unzip, I should have 4 different options. So it's going to do 2 prompt using Cyberpunk Samurai and then 2 prompt using Steampunk Explorer, and then combine it with the second one. So if we do the second one, you will see we have these 2. Okay, so now that I have the combination, we need to place this into a formatted string. So let's add the formatted string. You can just search, like double click and search for it, and you should have this. Now, remember we have A and B, and it tells you here that you need to use this format here. So if you want to mention A, it has to be curly brackets A inside it, like so. Originally, my example was like this, but like I said, I'm disabling C and D because it's going to take too long. So I'm just going to do Victorian Laboratory for my location. This is going to be C, and I'm going to hard code it here. If you are doing C, then you will place your curly brackets C in there, and then I guess we can just do, let's just do digital art or digital concept art. I'm going to replace D. So A and B is still there. That's going to be the outfit. I'm going to take A into the input A here, and then B into B, and then the string I can place it as the preview. This way we'll see the full prompt, and in here you will see I have 4 prompts, and the first 2 uses Samurai, a Cyberpunk Samurai, and then it uses the combination neon chrome outfit and then weathered leather outfit. The second 2 here, it's using the Steampunk Explorer and then using the neon chrome outfit, like that. So this string, I can pass it to my workflow now. So we'll activate the workflow. By the way, if you have the RG3 node, you can also do a group, and then I believe here you will get the options to bypass or mute it. I don't have it installed right now, which is why I'm not using it. So let's connect the string to the positive prompt, and even if you have something in there, it's going to be overwritten, so that's not an issue. And then of course you need to make sure that your checkpoint that you're using, the load diffusion model, or if you're using the a simple load checkpoint, you need to make sure that your model is able to generate these different concept that you're trying to prompt for. Now, for the sake of speed, I'm using the Z image turbo. This way I can generate using 8 steps. Actually, just for the sake of speed here, let's just do 4 steps. The image is not going to be great, but the point of this tutorial here is to show you how to do combination of prompts. So let's run it. It will go through the text encoder. That's going to encode this, and then it will go into case sampler. We should see an like a preview here. Okay, so we see the first image, and then it goes into the second one. So that's basically the output that is changing. And then we have the third one. So you can see Steampunk Explorer. And then we have a fourth one, again Steampunk Explorer, but different outfit. So only 4 steps. Images is not very defined but very clear, but you can see the idea. Okay, so this way you can test out different prompts and Of course, if you combine it all four, you have a maximum of 4 variables that you can use here, and you can combine it with the formatted string. You can see A, B, C, D. That's going to give you a lot of combinations. So with just 3 options in each one, we got 81 different prompts that you can generate. So there's a lot of testing, a lot of fun to have with this. All right, so next section, let's continue with this. We can use the same workflow. So if you're following along, you can keep this workflow. Now, let me just get to preview as text node here, and I'm going to get the unzip A to the top and unzip B to the bottom. Let's run this, and you can see what's happening here. The unzip A is just breaking these into individual ones, but we have 2, and then this as well gets broken into 2. So essentially what happens is that the first pass will get Cyberpunk Samurai combined with Neon Chrome, Cyberpunk Samurai with Weathered Leather, and then we have Steampunk with Neon Chrome, and then Steampunk with Weathered Leather here. So basically, so you get these 4 combinations. That's why we have 4 options here. Now we can actually utilize this to create these XYZ grid. Not quite. Let's not make the grid right away, but let's see how we can do different combinations. So one of the most anticipated or most explored one is to find out what is the best sampler scheduler combination. If you don't use the combine, like let's say we don't use this, we bypass that, then we only have the option to use the string output. But this one, it's outputting only one option. So for example, if we do inspect combo, by the way, if you have not watched the first part, make sure to watch the first part to know how this works. So if you connect this to the sampler here, you will see, actually, let me change this to a new line. It's going to be easier to see. There we go. So we'll get all the different options here, but it's only one. Like, even if I take this inspect combo, I put it in scheduler here, it doesn't do the combination. So we can use this output list combination to make those combinations. When you want to test out 2 different fields, you can also test out 3 different fields using the same method. So let's see how to do this. I'm going to delete that. And we know we want to test out sampler name and scheduler. So first we'll need to fix the prompt. So I'm going to remove that, and we can just test out this prompt. That's fine. Now we need to get the combination, the different options basically for sampler and scheduler. So this, we can get the inspect combo and then get the options. Okay, once again, I'm going to change this to a new line like so. And of course, for the sake of speed here, I'm not going to do all of it. Let's just do the first. I believe res multi-step works with this model. So I'm just going to test out Euler or Euler and then res multi-step. Then for scheduler, again, we take the inspect combo into scheduler here to get the list. Okay, and I'm just going to do, let's just do simple and then B. All right, so leaving it as it is, for example, you can see these are disabled. Actually, to avoid confusion, I'm going to remove them. If you do it like this, where you have 2 string output lists connected directly to the widget here, it's not going to work. You will actually get 2 images instead of 4 images. So we have 2 options here, 2 options here. As we've seen previously, 2 multiplied by 2, we should have 4. But if you do it like this without combining it, you will get only 2 options. It will only consider the 1 string output list, not both of them. So we'll need to combine it, and we'll do combine combination output list combination here. Now I know this is A and this is going to be B. Now instead of going into a formatted string, because remember this is not a prompt, I'm going to go from the output list combinations, the unzip A and B, directly into the widget. So A is sampler name and then B is scheduler. So basically we're adding this as a bridge instead of just connecting this directly. Let's click on Q prompt, and now we'll do this Cyberpunk Samurai neon chrome outfit, and it's going to be oil painting style, but it will consider Euler and simple first, then res multi-step and simple, then it will do Euler beta, and then res multi-step and beta. So we can see it here. We have 4 different options, and you can see these 2 are almost the same, these 2 slightly different. Now leaving it as it is a little bit difficult to know like which one is which one. Of course you can keep track of it, like we can do the formatted string. So that's something that you can add. You can add the formatted string. We'll do A, we'll do B, and then you can just type in here like the first one is sampler, and this is going to be A, and then we can do scheduler, and that's going to be B. So you can keep track of it like this, and this can also do to preview. When you do it like this, it will tell you here that the first image is Euler simple. The second image is Euler beta. That's one way that you can keep track, right? But it would be a lot easier if you had an XYZ grid. So let's take a look at how to generate an XYZ grid now. So we'll keep using our example here. And just after decoding the image, we'll add our XYZ grid plot. And you can see this will take images. And we know that our images is coming from here. So let's pass images here, and then it outputs an image. That's going to be our big grid basically. And we need to put in the label for the row and the columns. Now we already know our label. These are basically our labels. So you can pass the value as row, and then this one, the value as column. And the reason I know it's like a row first, like what is this? The sampler basically is my row. We can see here these two, the top one are the rows, this one is the columns. So Euler here we can see row, and then simple and beta is going to be the column. So once you have that, you can run, and we should have one single image now. Do it like this, and you can see simple Euler, this is my first. We can also confirm it by doing this. So simple and Euler, we know here our first one is simple and Euler. We have the next row basically is beta Euler, actually row first, so Euler and beta, and we can see it here. Our next one is Euler and beta, and then we have res multi-step and simple. So third one is res multi-step simple, and then the fourth one is res multi-step and beta, res multi-step and beta. So that's actually very easy to generate these grids. You can of course do it for anything. Let's do an example where instead of doing it for sample name and scheduler, let's do for width and height. So any widget that has like a dot here, you can use it for this purpose. Now, because width and height are numbers, instead of using the string, I will be using the number output list. That is the only difference here. So we'll do that. And I'm going to start with, let's do 512. I will stop at, I'm not going to do too many here. So let's just do 1280. Again, same thing here. We'll do 512, 1280. I will include the endpoints. So this here is to include this number or exclude it. And I'm just going to do two rows, like 2 rows and 2 columns. So that's going to be 4 images. I will do my combinations. This is going to be A, this is going to be B, and the unzip one is where I'm passing it to my width and height, and I can right away pass this as my row label and my column label. Now, the reason I'm showing you this is because now we are going to get different size for each image, and this node here is smart enough to resize the final output to accommodate for the different size of the images. So let's disable this, otherwise we are going to get 8 different combinations and 4 from the top, 4 from this one. Oh yeah, let me also do like a preview. This way you can see the different combinations. I'm just going to do the unzip one, but you can also use a formatted string to clearly see what's happening. So right now, we'll see that 2 images will be at width 512, 2 images will be at width 1280, and we can see our preview here. This is first image. Okay, so there you go. So we have 512 by 512. This is the first one, and then we have 512 by 1280. You can see it's long one. Then we have it 1280 by 512, so like this, and then 1280 by 1280, like a square. That's the last one that we saw here. So it's automatically adding like a white border, like padding, I guess, to accommodate and fill in the area so that it can do the grid itself. So size of your images does not matter. You can do any size. The different combinations here, like if you want to do steps, CFG, or maybe even seed, you can go ahead and do all of that combination. You can even do like the model sampling aura flow. If you have CFG norm and all of that, you can combine. By the way, you can also do this, like if you have different models that you want to test out, that also is possible. Now, going back to the workflow here, there's actually a lot that we can do If I scroll through here, you can see here we have repeat, we have cycle. You can load images in different formats. We've already seen this. The compare LoRa model and strength, you can use a combination like I just showed you. And instead of like doing the, it's basically numbers. So you will do exactly like we just did for width and height, but instead you will do it for the model and the strength of that LoRa. So you can basically change the model as well as the strength. We've already seen this, how to use the row and column as file names, basically as your XYZ label. You can also use it as file name. For those who don't know, this file name here can have variables in it. Maybe you can look for it, or if you don't know about it, you can let me know and I can continue for this series. We've seen combined numbers, combined prompts, simple output lists. There are some for loops that you can also do. You can also integrate this into third-party custom node like data lists, multi-prompts, and all of that. So all of these are here. You can continue on reading. If you'd like me to continue making this this series like educational one instead of just showcasing, let me know in the comments down below, and I will continue this series and explain how the other nodes work. So thanks for watching. I know like for these two videos there are no webcam, unfortunately. Like my webcam is having issue. I believe the cable is the issue here, so by next week it should be fixed. But let me know if you like this format. Like it's a lot easier for me to make videos without the webcam because I don't have to edit two different video file, basically like one for the webcam, one for the recording. So if you prefer this, I can keep on making videos like this. There's no problem. Or if you want the webcam back next week, it will be available. So I'll have it ready by next week. All right. So thank you for watching until the very end. I really appreciate all the support, all the likes, the views. So if you have any questions, leave it in the comments down below. If you have the means, you can always support me on Patreon. But the easiest way to support the channel is to give this video a like, share it with your friend list, and a simple thank you in the comments down below will keep the engagement, and that will tell YouTube that keep posting this video for other people to find out. So those are the ways that you can support the channel. Easiest method, just give it a like. I'll really appreciate it. Thanks for watching until the very end. Once again, have a nice day. Take care. I will see you next time.